Hello Stampers, my name is Linda Bedinger and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Denver, Colorado. I'm so glad you could join me this afternoon. I have had an opportunity now to play with the prized Peony stamp and the Peony dies. And so I have a card for you that is using the die Peony, and it's a little complex. So I'm going to take the time in this video to show you how to put this peony die together along with the leaves, and I have a stunning card. I think you're going to like it. Let's just get started. Okay, here is my card. Isn't that just the prettiest thing? And it took me a while to figure out the die, so I thought I would save you the headache of trying to figure it out and show you how to do it. And there's my inside of my card, and this one is a congratulations card. So what it takes to make this card is, and the reason I did this, I've seen so many of them done up in the pale, the petal pink, and I'm sure that's because the designer series paper heads you in that direction. But the peonies in my garden are this color and this pale pink color and white. And so I thought I would make one. Mine are almost a raspberry pink. And Melon Mambo seemed to sort of fit the bill. So I have a card base that is cut 4 1/4 by 11, scored and folded at 5 1/2. And let me give that a burnish here so we get that to lay nice and flat. Then I have the other pieces that you need, which are, I've got 2 pieces of Blushing Bride that are 4 by 5 1/4, one for the inside and one for the outside. And then I have some scrap Old Olive, Mossy Meadow, and Melon Mambo. And then you need a tiny little bit of your favorite yellow. I used So Saffron for my stamen in the middle of the flower. Then I used one of the panels from our beautiful laser cut gold paper. And I thought that would set off the peony so well. And then I just Versamarked the large peony here. And I'll show you, I don't know if I still have it. I did one where I did the peony quite a bit smaller, and it just wasn't to scale, and it looked kind of puny. So I put the larger peony in there, and you could back it off. And in fact, in this one, I might back it off a little bit more into the corner so there's a little bit more room for your sentiment. Now, I have used the congratulations from Here's a Card for right down here. And then this is the prized peony stamp set. And the sentiments on this one are: so sorry for your loss. Your sweet friendship refreshes the soul. My thoughts are with you. Love and thanks to a dear friend. And then the dies include this large piece that cuts out the big peony, and then this little die here cuts out this peony, and this die cuts out this peony. Now, the other dies in this set. These are the peony dies. There is the largest piece, and that cuts out this piece. And I can see why people are confused by this die set, because there's a lot of parts and pieces. But I'm going to show you a trick that makes it really easy to put this together. Then the next die is this next largest one that cuts out this piece. And that is the second die that goes on the inside of the peony. Then there are 2 more, and they're sort of graduated in size, the largest to the smallest. So this is the 3rd largest, here, and it cuts out this piece, and then the smallest piece, which cuts out this. And what you get out of that is this gorgeous flower. Oh, and there's leaves, and I messed around with a couple of different colors, and I finally decided on Old Olive and Mossy Meadow. So you need some scrap of Old Olive and some Mossy Meadow, and then you need the peony, the Melon Mambo to cut out the peony if you're going to do it like I did it. Okay, so let me move a few of these things, and let's talk about this die. If you take a look at this die and you look at the pieces here, what you'll notice is that right down here at the bottom, right here and right here, all of these dies line up to those two dips and two recessed pieces. This die also lines up to exactly that same place. And finally, this die also lines up to that same spot. So when we're putting this together, what we're going to do is make sure that everything lines up to the bottom pieces here, and you will have a very easy time of putting this together. I've watched a couple videos where people have put them together, and they've done all kinds of gyrations to get them put together. I think mine is pretty simple. What you're going to do is fold this piece back. Well, first I'm going to take my Melon Mambo ink, and I'm going to use my dauber and put some ink on this, on these flower pieces. And what I did was I used my dauber, and I had kind of a heavy hand here around the top of the flower. Lots of times, for a variety of reasons, light and shade, and then the actual flowers themselves, they do have different shading on them. So what I did was I used a dauber, not going all the way to the end, so there was a little lightness on the ends, and then right here, because we're going to stick something inside, and I know it looks a little messy, but in the end I think it comes out well. So here's my dauber again, and I'm just going to add my Melon Mambo. So this is tone on tone, and what it looks is a little dirty when you get done with it. And I'm going to add some ink just along these top edges here, but not going all the way to the end. So there we go. And then here once again on the inside of here and in here for those to show. And then on this one, I just put some down here on the bottom. No need for any on the top. Okay, so I used glue dots. I found that to be just about the most efficient to put this part together. This is the second largest piece that goes in next. And we know that those two pieces are going to measure up and come to the same spot on the bottom. And there it is. So once I've got it in there, what I did was I took a glue dot and I picked up this piece and I put a glue dot right down, pulled out my pokey tool, got another glue dot, and as you lift this piece up that's going in from the inside, that's where you can put your glue dots, and I would put it on the shorter piece so they don't show for sure. And 2 glue dots is probably plenty to hold that piece in place. So there we go, we've got those two. The next piece is this one. And again, what we're going to do is go inside the cut line here and get this to measure up in that same spot on the bottom of the peony. I'm going to turn this around so you can see exactly what I'm doing. I'm going to line up those pieces so that they are directly over those pieces on the bottom. And what it looks like from the other side is, yay, we've got another layer of the peony. So I'm going to come in here and get another glue dot. And I'm going to pick up this latest piece here and stick a glue dot right in here. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing there. And it doesn't matter if it falls over on itself. We're going to eventually want a little dimension on this. And I'm going to capture that down with that little piece. Okay, now we're going to grab another glue dot and picking up this end of it, getting that reset there so that it's absolutely lined up. Then I'm going to put another glue dot on that side. Okay, and there we've got 3 layers so far. Now, we have this last layer, and this one's kind of a tight fit. So what I found, and it doesn't hurt the dimension on the flower, was just to bend this one just a touch so that it slides in this slot that's left the easiest, because it's a little bent and that's kind of a tight fit. So I'm bowing that a little bit and I'm pushing that down into the flower. And then I'm going to turn it over and line it up with my spots again so that it is perfectly lined up once again. And you can see the bow to what I just put in there. But you can see, I think, all of the layers there lined up on that bottom piece of the peony. Now, same thing. I'm going to grab a couple of glue dots and put one on either side, picking this end up. Make sure I've got that in there right. And then putting a glue dot there to hold those pieces. And one more glue dot for, I'm going to put one in the middle this time. One in the middle, and then I'm going to put one more on the end, which is right in here. And look at that. There we go. We've started to get our flower. Now that's pretty flat, and you'll notice that the one on my card here is raised up and has lots of dimension. So I'm going to move this ink out of the way, and what I'm going to show you that I did was I took mini dimensionals, took the paper off, then picked up the dimensional and tucked it way down inside the flower to give it a little bit of a lift. So again, take off the paper and then pick up the whole glue dot and stick it, and that also helps hold your flower together, way down inside that peony. And you see I'm already starting to get the dimension that I'm looking for. Okay. All right, now I'm going to get another one, pick up the paper, pick up the glue dot, and now I'm going to go in between the next two pieces and set one right down in the center. and that gives me a little lift there. Gonna take another one. And I'm going to tuck it now in the next layer, right down behind this one. And I'm going to have to pick up 2 pieces to get down in there. But you get the idea. All you really want to do is create a little lift and a little dimension. See how that's starting to have that there? And you can do this as much or as little as you want. I liked to have some real separation on all of the leaves because I thought that's what made it look the most realistic. Now I'm going to take this one, and this gets to be a tighter and tighter fit as you come down the flower. I'm going to get my thumb in there and make some space and see if I can't get all the way down in there to put a dimensional. There we go. All right. Now then, we have all of these little pieces here, and one of the things that I did was just kind of fluff them out a little bit here so that I got the real look of petals that were pulled away in my flower, and I think that looks pretty realistic. Now we have a little yellow stamen, and this little stamen is going to go right down in here. You put it where it looks the most realistic, but it looked the most realistic to me tucked way back. This is the 1-2 layer and tucked, well, I guess it's between that and the next layer, and I'm going to want that to be showing just a little bit. Peonies have very soft yellow centers. In fact, I'm going to snip a little bit of this end off, and then I'm going to add some snail to the back of this. They have very soft yellow centers, and they almost get completely hidden by the flower because the flower petals are so thick on a peony that they'll come around and almost completely hide the stamen. And so having it show just a little bit here is just perfect. And there we go. There we've got that beautiful flower all ready to go. Now, there are 3 leaves in the die set. There are leaves that match these 2 in the stamp set. And then there are these dies that have a little bit more definition around the edges. You see that? So that they cut out something with a little bit more shape. The others, so you can see, are almost completely oval. And they cut out these leaves in the stamp set. And so the ones that we want are the ones with a little more shape. And then these dies cut out these little pieces where you have an overlay, if you will, of a different color on the leaves. And so these fit on here like this and get put into place right along the bottom of these leaves. So this goes right along this edge. So what I did to glue those together is I have moved my Tombow into a little bottle that has a super fine tip, and it helps me when I've got things that are a little challenging to put in place with little surface. get just a tiny dot of the Tombow down. Then using my tweezers to pick that up, I can set that in place on my leaf and just hold that down for a second while Tombow gets its grip. And there's one of my leaves done. Here is the second one. So again, a little bit of a dot or a tiny little string of glue. Pick that up with my tweezers and set that in place on my leaf. And like I said, I fooled around with some different colors of green, and I liked this combination the best. Some of the greens have a little bit more blue in them, and this is like darker in the same tone family. So there we go. There's that second leaf. And then we have a third one, and this is a much smaller piece. There we go. There's my leaves. Now then, on this, I decided to add this greeting after I put the card together because I thought it needed something. I didn't want it to just be a note card. So here's a card, had that beautiful congratulations stamp that's nice and skinny. And it goes in there and does just the perfect job. But what I would suggest is that you do your stamping before you put your gold piece on, so that you can get things put exactly where you want them. I'm going to put that in some Melon Mambo ink and put my congratulations right down here at the bottom of my card. As close to the bottom as I can get it. And then we have our beautiful gold laser cut piece. And this piece can go right down here on your card, and you can take it right to the top of the words, which is how I had to do it in order to make it fit. Okay, so I use my dot runner. You could use the Tombow glue and just dot some glue around. I find this to be pretty efficient. Now I can put this in place, and I'm going to use the top of my letters to mark where I'm going to put this. And if it means that this is not centered from top to bottom, I'm okay with that because I want the congratulations to show. Put that into place, and then because my flower has so much dimension with those dimensionals and the layers and everything else, I didn't actually raise this, although it looks like it on here. What I did was I put lots of snail on the back side of this flower and then put it into place in the center of my gold panel. There we go. Isn't that just pretty? Now then, you can arrange and do your leaves any way you'd like, but a little bit of snail on the back is going to be plenty, and just tuck those leaves in where it makes sense for you. Isn't that just gorgeous? And there we go. That is the front of our card done. Now, on the inside of the card, what I did was I used my embossing buddy here, and then I took the very large flower and used some Versamark, and in this case I'm going to back that flower off a little bit because it took up an awful lot of the inside. So I'm going to put plenty of Versamark. In fact, I think I'll do that again. And then I've got my scratch paper down, but I want to make sure that the top 2/3 of this peony is really inked up. Okay, now I've got my card that I've run by my embossing buddy, and this time I'm going to leave the bud off the end, going to turn the flower just a little, and we're going to stick it in this corner, and it's not going to be quite as prominent as this one, but I think it'll be just fine. Okay. Then I've got my gold embossing powder, and I'm going to use my spoon because I don't want this all over. And there we go. We've got that beautiful flower in the corner. And I think that's going to be just fine. So now I will quiet the video while I heat set my gold peony. There's my gold peony, and let's look at the difference in the size. It's still pretty substantial, but you can see that it takes up a little less room on the card, not by height, but by depth. So I think I like that a little bit better. All right, well, this card is ready to get put together. So we are going to just add some snail to the back of this piece, and then put it on the front of the card. Oh my gosh, that's such a pretty card. Such a pretty flower. Okay, so now same thing here. Add this one to the inside of the card. And there we have it. That is our project for the day. Thank you so much for stopping by my YouTube channel today. I do so appreciate it. And if you don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, then I'd love to be your demonstrator. Or you could join my team. I keep bending things here because I want to add a little bit more dimension. I noticed that I have bent these out a little bit more on this one. And right now, Stampin' Up! Has a very good deal for signing up. It's the normal $125 worth of product for $99, which is always the case with Stampin' Up! And then they also have a special going on through the month of June, that if you sign up in June, you also get the bundle of your choice out of the new catalog. Either the stamp set and the die set, so like the peony set here, or the stamp and the punch set, like the jar of flowers. And so it's a wonderful time to join if you've ever thought about it. And so that is it for me. My prize for the month is also a bundle of your choice out of the new catalog. And all you have to do to get yourself in my drawing is put an order on my website, lbedinger.stampinup.net, and you can get to it through my blog, www.inkingenuity.com. So that's it for me today, and I will be back soon with more cards, more tips, and more projects. Bye!